Trying to build up your credit score? Are you struggling to think of ways of how you can do that? Well, in today's video, I'm going to go over what a credit score is, how to improve it, and what to avoid to prevent it from going down. Stay tuned. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Stan, and today we'll be talking about your credit score and how you can build it up. So the whole point of a credit score is that lenders can have a look at the score and your credit report and basically decide how reliable and trustworthy you are before lending you money. So whether you want to, buy a house and ask for a mortgage, if you want to buy a car on finance, or if you just want a new credit card, they'll look at it and think, how reliable are you? How likely are you to give us the money back? Because the higher your score, and I'll go over sort of what makes it up, basically will tell them this person took some credit out or took some money out and gave it back promptly. And that's what they want. They want to give you money and they want it back as soon as possible, and they want to make sure they get that money back. So this is what we talk about. So there'll be 5 components of your credit score, and then we'll go over some of the ways that you can improve it. So let's dive into it. So the first factor that affects your credit score is your payment history. This makes up about 35%, so it's a big chunk of your credit score. And all it does is that lenders want to see that you're paying your debt back on time every single time. So what they do is they look at your on-time payments and they divide it by your total payments, and they get a percentage of on-time payments. So I'll put a little equation up here, but basically what they want to see is that you're paying everything back on time and you're not late. So that will tell them, we can give you money because you're going to pay it back. And it's one thing to note is that even one missed payment can have a big negative impact. So basically all I'm going to say is pay your credit back, pay your debt back on time. So the next factor, which makes up 30% of your credit score, is the amount owed. So what this means is they want to see how much credit you're actually using out of the total credit that you have. So another little equation is all based on the credit utilization ratio. So what it means is they look at your credit that you're spending or that you're using up over the total credit that you have available. So hence how much credit you're utilizing. So basically you want to be below 20 or 30%. So what I mean is, for example, if you've got £1,000 credit limit, you don't want to spend more than £200 or £300 at once, or you don't want to have that balance on your account. So if you're buying something for £100, fine, pay it off, then you're back to zero, then 200, fine, pay it off, but never go above sort of 300 or 400, because then they'll see sort of red flags thinking, you've got so much credit, why do you need it all? It's sort of almost like counterintuitive, but banks love giving you money when you don't need it. So when they see that you need money, it's kind of like a red flag. Or you've got £1,000 limit, you're using it all up, are we going to get that back? Just a little thing to know. So one good thing to do is, once you have credit, say for a few years or even for 6 or 12 months, think about increasing your credit limit, because with the whole equation, if the number on the bottom is a lot bigger, then the ratio will go down. So I did this recently on my credit card. So my limit was £500 for years, and it literally just took 2 minutes on the app. So I bank with HSBC, it literally took me 2 minutes, and I just thought, let me ask for £2,000. Again, 2 minutes later, I got an email saying you've been approved. So now, if we, again, use an example, if I was using up, say £200 out of my £500 limit, that's 40%, which is a lot. Whereas now if I use £200 up out of my £2,000 limit, that's only 10%. That's a huge difference. And then suddenly the bank goes, oh, he's only using 10%. That's fine, he's welcome to use it. So just think about how much credit you have and if you can increase the limit to decrease the credit utilization ratio. So the third factor is your credit history length. So this makes up about 15% of your credit score. And what this does, as the name suggests, is it looks at your credit history length, so how long you've had credit for. So this looks at your oldest accounts, so how long you've had those for, your newest accounts, and the average. So basically all I'm saying is have an account open as soon as you can. So I opened mine, I think when I was sort of 18, 19. So I've had mine sort of for 5 or 6 years now, which is great because they look at it be like, oh, he's had credit for a long time, he's been able to handle it. Great, thumbs up. But also don't open too many accounts at one time. And that's because they'll look at it and be like, why do you need so much credit in a short period of time? I mean, it might just be a coincidence because, I mean, we'll come back to it later, but it might just be a coincidence where you open a few accounts at once. So if you buy a car and a house, say within 2 or 3 months of each other, well, you can't help it. But at the same time, they'll look at it and be like, you've taken 2 bits of credit out at the same time. So just bear that in mind. But if you can, if you're young, again, if you don't say have a credit card, if you're just turning 18, open one up, whether it's with your bank or somewhere else, and start building that credit history up. So have patience, but make sure you make a start. Factor number 4 then is your credit mix. So the more diverse your credit is, the better. And what I mean by that, and this makes up 10% of your credit score, is that if you can be seen as managing sort of a wide range of credit. So if you've got, say, student loan, a credit card, a sort of car and finance, a mortgage, sort of bits like that, then the banks and the lenders see you as, oh, you can manage a wide range or a diverse range of credit, which means you must be good with money. And that's what you want to show. You want to have a wide range. Again, if you're starting off, I don't know, if you're at university and you've got a credit card, again, you're not going to have a mortgage, you're not going to have a car and finance, or you might do, but that's something to build up over the years. And one thing to note as well, I think I mentioned it previously, is that bank love to give you money when you don't need it. So when you don't need it and you ask for it, they'll be like, yeah, sure, have it, because we kind of trust you because you don't need it. But as soon as you need it, then they get a bit iffy, because they look at you and be like, why do you need all this money? Because if you need that money, it means you're a higher risk person. And what I mean by that is, if you suddenly need a lot of money, say for repairs and whatnot, or you lost your job, you ask for a big loan, then they look at you and be like, okay, so you need this money, but are you going to pay it back? And then a few question marks come up, and it's all very complicated. So just bear that in mind. Ideally, you want to ask for a credit limit increase or new credit when you're sort of stable or when you're a good point in your life. And lastly, number 5 is your new credit. So this makes up about 10% of your credit score, and all it does is it looks at the amount of new accounts that you've opened recently and how many hard checks you've had. So every time you apply for new credit, it usually gives you an option to do an eligibility checker. So I talk about this as well in my Amex American Express video, so check it out above. But basically what it does, it gives you a vague idea or a rough idea of how likely you are to be accepted. So you put in some basic information about yourself, and then it tells you, okay, Stan, you'll be accepted, and you sort of have an 80% chance. Then I think, okay, I could go through with it. But if it tells me, Stan, you've got a 30% of being accepted, then there's no point of me carrying on, because then, as I'll go on to explain, that goes as a hard check and probably as a big cross. So like basically they'll decline me. And what hard check is it goes on your credit history, goes on your credit report as okay, I've applied for credit. They're doing like a proper search, proper sort of investigation into you. I mean, it takes a few minutes because it's all automated, but it looks into sort of how much credit you're using. It looks at everything as your credit score, but it leaves a mark on your credit history, which is the point I'm trying to get at. However, it is important to note that a hard check or hard inquiry usually only stays on your credit history for 2 years, and usually only affects your credit score for 1 year. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, but if you are planning on applying, say, for a new credit card, if you get declined once, don't carry on sort of applying, because if you carry on getting declined, your credit score will plummet, and that's not what we want. If you do get declined the first time, ask them, why is that? Is there anything I can do? Or try and get it from somewhere like closer to home. So if you're, I don't know, if you bank with, I don't know, Capital One, for example, ask them, oh, I'd like to have a credit card. And because you're already banking with them, then they might say to you, yeah, all right, no worries, let's go through the application. Whereas if you're brand new, if you go to a brand new bank, they don't really know you as a customer, then they're less likely to offer you a new credit card. So some quick tips to help you improve your credit score. So the first one is you want to pay your bills on time, every time, to improve your score and to basically provide evidence that you're trustworthy and reliable with your credit. Second one is you want to pay down any debt. So you want to pay off anything that you owe to decrease utilization, as we spoke about earlier. Next one, make sure all your information on your credit report is correct and up to date. This sounds really obvious, but if you've moved house, if there's any change of circumstance, let them know and make sure you keep it up to date. Next one is make sure you're registered on the electoral roll. So what I mean is if you're registered to vote sort of near you in your local elections or basically wherever you are, but basically make sure you're on it, because it's a way for lenders to check your name and address in a sort of like an official way. So basically if you exist on this database, then they basically know that you've been at the address that you've said you've been for 10 years instead of 3 years. And it's a good sort of backup for them to double check you are who you are. And the last one is I'd recommend for anyone who's starting off or who really wants to build up the credit score is to use a credit builder credit card. So as the name suggests, it builds your credit up. It's a great way to do so. They might give you a lower limit to start with, but the whole point of it is to build your credit score up and again, to build that sort of reliability and trust. So some of these companies include sort of Aqua or Capital One, but I'd recommend using Money Supermarket. So I'll put a link in the description below, and basically they'll give you an eligibility checker to see how likely you are to be accepted. Some of the great sort of best deals for you specifically. It's just worth checking out. Alternatively, as I mentioned earlier, try somewhere closer to home. So if you already bank with, I don't know, say Santander this time, if you already bank with them, why not go to them and say, I'd like a credit card, what are your options? And if you've already been a customer even for, I don't know, 6 months or 6 years, it doesn't matter. Because you're already a customer, you're already there, they already have you. It's a great way of them to basically keep hold of you as well. So it's like a win-win for everyone. It's like a two-way situation. So again, if you don't ask, you don't get. So just go out there and get yourself a credit card, but be responsible with it. Anyway, now what we'll do is we'll look at my credit report. So don't judge me, please. But there's a few websites that you can use, sort of Experian, ClearScore, or Credit Karma. So that's what we'll use. So if we go to the screen in a second, I'll show you what's what and how you can improve your credit score, sort of based on some of the things they've told me. So I find Credit Karma to be the best because it's really easy to use. It gives you top tips on how to improve your score. I mean, it might just be me being silly, but Experian isn't too great in my opinion. It gives you the score, but then I think you have to pay for some of the extra features, which I'm not too keen on. And same with ClearScore, sort of gives you your report and some offers, but I feel like Credit Karma is quite nice and easy to use. So if we go over to the screen now, what it says, your credit score is good, let's make it excellent. So this one is out of 710, so I'm currently on 614. So we can have a look at that about your credit score. We ask for an update weekly, but it won't always have changed. So I'll again talk about it in a second, because some bits on here I've recently updated, or not updated, like I've paid off. So this will change in a few weeks, or hopefully it should. But if we look at it, so credit factors, what's affecting your credit score and what needs work. So you can see you've got a yellow dot saying more to do, green dot saying keep it going, and say a red dot saying lots to do. So if we start with the top one, credit limit is £7,540. This the combined credit limits reported for your 3 accounts. So more to do, what can we say? So they're saying increase your total credit limit to over £15,000 or £15,000 to make it better. So again, I've increased my credit limit recently on my HSBC credit card, so that should help it as well. But that's one thing to note, as they say, increase your credit limit, and then you'll be good. So the next one, payment history is perfect. What can I say? Good stuff. Your score is benefiting from your consistent on-time payments. You're on an unbroken streak. So basically what this means is, like I mentioned earlier, you don't want to miss any payments because that goes against you. So I've never missed a payment, and every time I've got to pay something, I pay it. So for example, the car, again, check out in this video above, the car I bought it on finance. So that money goes out automatically. But for example, if they said, oh, you can do it manually every single month, and I forgot one time, that's a big cross against my name, because, oh Stan, why aren't you paying for your car? That's not very good. So we're on to a good start, I think. Then the next one, credit utilization. So using 22% of your total reported credit limits. So this is, so look what it says, keeping it less than 25%, yeah, helps your score. So I said earlier, sort of anywhere between 20 and 30%. Again, that will vary from company to company, but keep it within that range and then you're good. And then some other things to include is time on the electoral roll. So how long you've been registered on the electoral roll at your current address, 5 years, 9 months. Again, I think because I went to uni, that sort of, I don't really know why that changed. Potentially because I was 18, that would probably explain it. And then new account, so lots to do. 3 new accounts, you put in 3 accounts. I can't remember the third one, but one of them was my car and one of them was my American Express credit card. So again, the more I open in a short period of time, sometimes you can't help it, but sometimes it's not the best thing to do. As you can see, lots to do. Avoid opening any new accounts in the next 6 months. You've got it, no problem, I'll do that. So as you can see, this whole website is quite good. It gives you nice top tips on how to improve it, what your credit score is, and you can sort of check it weekly over a few weeks to sort of make sure if you are making that progress. So to summarize, basically missing payments or asking for too much credit in a short period of time can really affect your credit score. But I hope this video has been really informative for you. I hope sort of some, especially that website towards the end, has really helped you visualize how it all works. But if you do have any questions, do let me know in the comment section below or DM me on Instagram at Stan Mackowiak. I'll pop it on here somewhere. But that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for your support as always. If you did like the video, consider liking, give me a comment, tell me what you think and how your credit score is looking or what you're doing to build it up. And do consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. We're onto the road of 250 at the moment and then onwards and upwards. But thank you very much for watching. And as always, save money so that one day that money can save you. I'll see you in the next video.